I have a question for you, Thomas. Do tariffs matter to stock prices?
Do tariffs matter to stock prices? I mean, in the short term, sure.
Okay, good. Because now I've locked you into engaging with me in this discussion in good faith and not saying it doesn't matter. So I had to start with that one. The court ruling yesterday, Trump's tariffs, ruled that he did not have the authority to implement the tariffs under the sectional law that he implemented them under. I'm not going to go into detail. But the point is they have 10 days effectively to roll them back. The Trump and their administration has appealed this and is likely going to appeal it. They have 4 other options, my understanding. I'm not some expert on the topic, but it does seem they have 4 other options. One option they can implement almost immediately, but it's only good for about 150 days. The other 3, you have to go through some bureaucratic hoops before they could implement them. My question to you is, in your opinion, the court ruling, what does it mean for risk in your mind? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? Is it a complete non-factor? What does it mean to you?
When you say risk, you mean stock market risk?
Yeah, just in general. How do you think about risk given the court ruling yesterday?
Given the court ruling yesterday, because risk means a lot of different things, but let's talk about it just in terms of listed financial products. Mm-hmm. I would say that it probably lessens the risk ever so slightly.
You think so?
Yes.
I see it the exact opposite.
Good. That's why you have a debate. That's why we do the show. Because let me just tell people really quickly, Victor doesn't tell me the topics ahead of time, so I don't know what he's gonna like. Just make sure. I want you to just people to understand that I don't prepare for what you're about to do. So what you're about to ask me. So but no, I would argue strongly that it actually reduces risk, not adds risk.
The reason I see it slightly differently, and I'm curious to hear sort of your justification as to why you see it that way, is I think prior to the court ruling, you had certainty about what was happening. Some people like it, some people didn't like it, but at least you knew what the administration was doing, how they were going about it. You don't know where the trade negotiations are going with the trade partners, but at least you have some certainty. Right now, with the court ruling, I think you have no idea what the administration is going to do next. So you have no idea how the appeal process is going to go. Could it get escalated to the Supreme Court? What are they going to do in the interim? What happens in the next 10 days? Yeah. Which one of these other 4 statutes might they use? So I actually think the certainty.
That's exactly what you were talking about, Tom. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Victor's his argument's different than mine. The basis for his argument, which would be totally fair under normal circumstances, is that the current administration had a plan to begin with, and therefore there's some basis for what you're saying. My argument is that it was a hodgepodge of idiotic ideas that were put together with no game plan, and the fact that they essentially blew it up, at least for whether it's a day, a week, a month, or a year, who cares, is actually better. And so that's why my argument says that if you're doing something that makes no rhyme or reason on any level, and then that gets blown up, then things have to be better. Now, do you run the risk of that same crew trying to do something? Possibly, but like I told Tony this morning, I actually think this is actually a win for Trump, because it gives him an out to a very clear and obvious, really horrible economic plan. And so this is going to help him politically, because it's going to give him a scapegoat, and it's going to let him out.
I think you're 100% right. That is, in the world where he uses this as an out, I agree with you 100%. This is a big opportunity here. Yep. I don't know that he will use this as an out. And I think likely it creates an incentive for all the trading partners to drag their feet. So let's say you were at the table, you were going to make a deal, or you're working towards making a deal. Why wouldn't you just drag your feet now even more, let this play out in the courts? Because the tariff leverage, if they appeal it or if they try to go under some new statute of the law, there's that U.S. tariff leverage is now called into question. And so you don't really have an incentive to negotiate in good faith. So you drag it out, which.
Yeah, of course. So I agree with that.
I think. So in some ways, I woke up this morning. I looked at the SPOOs. I looked at the Nasdaq. We're up 2%, and I know Nvidia had a decent earnings announcement yesterday. Yeah. But I go, I don't understand this. This doesn't make any sense to me. They should puke this because the uncertainty in the world just increased. It did not decrease.
That's not your read is your read about your read is. Longer term is probably correct, but what you have to remember is the market is very short-term emotional. And like I also told Tony this morning, this is the equivalent of a CEO leaving a company and the stock going up $8. This is exactly what happened. So the market, like Trump, listen, we can have lots of different opinions on Trump and whatever, but one of my very strong opinions on Trump is that, and you don't have to agree with this, is that he is an imbecile and he's incredibly dumb. But even as dumb as he is, he can see that if the market goes up when his plan gets rejected, that, okay, why am I fighting for this? Let me just go a different direction where everybody loves me and I can do whatever. And so I think he's going to get a lesson from that. And then I think you're right, down the road, there's something else that happens. I didn't like the market's reaction to that news because I didn't like the fact that bonds sold off on it. It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't like the fact that some of the things it was too big a jump. There was a bunch of things I didn't like about it. But the reality is, I think he recognizes that you can't execute a plan when nobody wants any part of it. That's it.
Did you see the whole Taco Trump thing trending on Twitter?
I did, but I didn't really. I don't dig that kind of stuff because that doesn't do any. I don't love mudslinging. Doesn't do anything. It's not fun for me.
You don't love mudslinging.
Sometimes you surprise. You surprise me every day. Did you just use
imbecile and you then say
there's a big difference?
Like mudslinging.
There's a big difference. When you're an imbecile, you're an imbecile.
You're kind of going back.
I'm not saying when I think somebody's an idiot. When I think somebody's an idiot, I'll call them out for being an idiot.
And then you used imbecile, and then you say you don't.
That's not mudslinging. Mudslinging is not when you think somebody is an idiot, you call them out on it. There's a lot of people in politics that I call out for being idiots. I have no issue with that, but I don't like the game of, stupid taco thing. I don't want to give him any bullets. Fair enough. I mean, is it true? Of course it's true. We've been saying it from day one. I think I started saying,
there's the jam.
I've been saying from day one, Trump doesn't have the ability to stick with a certain plan. He changes his mind on everything. He chickens out of everything. He's always been that way. But that goes back 50 years.
I guess there is a different way to frame it. The other way to frame it is that he starts the negotiation with the wildest claim, and then walking it back.
Which is a la Sosnov.
You can frame it as chickening out, or you can frame it as he started the negotiations way overpricing what he wanted. And then ultimately you negotiate, you pull it back, and you get something much more closer to what you wanted.
It's negotiating 101, and I'm not saying Trump with his
the
book
art of the deal
or anything else like that. Art of the deal. Forget about all that. Anytime you want something, you want 5, you ask for 8. I've never done it in my life, but that's the way to do it because you get 6 when you ask for 8, even though you wanted 5, because everybody thinks they negotiated down. I always say, this is my best price. This is my offer. This is what I'll take because I don't want to fight and argue with everybody. This is what I want to do. And it screwed me my entire life. That's why I'm sitting in coach and Saz is up in first class today.
My son's favorite game to play. We started playing this a couple weeks ago. He wants to play it every day. It's called Store. He goes, Dad, can we play Store? And he's got all these dinosaurs that he's laid out in his room. And I come in there with a bag and I say, hey, Mr. Jones, how are you? And he says, hey, welcome back to the store. And he goes, what do you need? And so here's the game. The game is, I say I need 3 dinosaurs, and I've taught my son. The first thing you ask is, what are you looking to spend? So he goes, what are you looking to spend? And I'll say I need 3 dinosaurs for $30. And the game is he's gotta sell me less for more. So if I say 3 for 30, he's got to sell me 2 for 40, and he's got to figure out an explanation to negotiate me for less is more. It's his. He loves this game, Tony, and it's exactly what you're talking about.
It's great.
Start him
Good
early,
for you.
man.
Good for you. Now, when he meets a woman and he gets married and everything else like that, all of that art goes out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. You know that, right? I mean, you're only preparing him for like up to about 20-something.
He's 6. He's 6. You got him meeting women 5. Already? He's 6.
He's 5. And by the way,
he's 5.
I'm in Singapore. So how do you think my negotiation went, Tony? I'm 11,000 miles away from my home.
He's going to teach you about it.
Okay, last thing. I've been asking every guest on the show this week, because this is the hill I want to die on. They're getting rid of the penny. What do you think about that, gentlemen? They killed the penny this week.
I don't have a strong opinion. I mean, they've killed the penny, I think, in Canada and other places, and maybe in the UK as well. I mean, what do? They just round up or down? Is that the whole thing?
I suppose so. I'm guessing people are going to stop pricing pennies.
It's round up, Saz. It's not round down. Okay.
All right, whatever.
It's round up, okay?
Okay.
$3.89 is now $4. We had to round up. $3.99 is now $4. We had to round up.
I mean, I if it costs more to create a penny than I mean, it's fine. I'm fine with it.
It doesn't matter. These kids don't use money anyway. They do everything Venmo, cards, debit cards. They don't use cash. It's not enough to get rid of the penny because we don't use it. But I get what they're doing. I understand. I got a penny collection.
Protect your sovereignty. Protect private cash. You
think this is round 1, right?
Oh, this is clearly step 1. This is how it starts. You take away the penny.
Round 1 of getting rid of
take away the nickel.
You take away the penny, and what happens next?
Quarter, nobody cares.
Oh, God.
The next thing that happens is either this is the fight that's being waged right now. It's either you're going to go CBDCs and government's going to get control over purchasing, or you're going to go private stable coins are going to run the world, and all the tech giants are going to get influence over your purchasing. That's the fight that's being fought right now. And what I want is to maintain my access to cash so that I can enter into direct private business transactions with my fellow citizens without anybody knowing what I'm doing with my money or without any ability to impede on those private transactions. And I know it just comes off as this is just a penny. Who cares? It costs more to make them. But I'm telling you, this is how it starts. Protect the cash. Protect your sovereignty. And with that, gentlemen, I'll see you another day.
Only Victor Jones could come up with a conspiracy. I don't. Of all the things you have to worry about in this world, Vic, that is not on the top of my list.
I know it isn't, and that's why I'm warning you. I'm the guy who's telling you what's
today
coming.
Pennies, tomorrow it's sovereignty. Tomorrow
that's right. Ask the Canadian truckers who got their bank accounts shut down for protesting. Ask them how it's going to work.
It's a good point.
I'm not too concerned yet about stable coins taking over, and as long as we're a culture of gamblers, I think cash will be around here for a long time.